9,500 years ago, a cat was buried alongside a human, not out of love, but out of calculated survival. What if the rituals your cat uses to claim you are ancient codes from a cunning ancestor, not signs of affection? Inside each headbutt and purr, biochemical signals are at play, marking you as prime territory. Understanding the true meaning behind these rituals could upend everything you think you know about your relationship. Most people have no idea how deep this rabbit hole goes. So how did these hidden habits start? And what are your cat's real intentions? A wild cat stalks the edge of an ancient grain store, eyes glinting in the moonlight. The humans inside are sleeping, unaware of the small predator slipping through the shadows. But this cat is not hunting them. It is after the swarms of rodents drawn to the bounty of stored wheat and barley, a feast made possible by the rise of human agriculture. These early settlements, scattered across Cyprus and the Fertile Crescent, offered a new kind of opportunity. For the African wildcat, survival depended on avoiding bigger predators and securing enough food. Here, the boundaries between wild and human territory blurred, not through friendship, but through necessity. Archaeologists in Cyprus uncovered a 9,500-year-old grave, a human and a cat buried together, their bones side by side. This was not a pet in the modern sense. The cat had chosen the settlement for its rodents, not for companionship. The humans, in turn, tolerated the wildcat's presence because it protected their precious harvest. There were no collars, no owners, just a silent agreement. The wildcat kept the grain safe, and the humans let it stay. This was the first pact. Unlike dogs, bred for loyalty and obedience, cats never surrendered their independence. They approached humans on their own terms, drawn by the promise of easy prey. Over generations, the boldest and most adaptable wildcats lingered closer to villages, gradually losing their fear. But the relationship remained transactional. The cat's loyalty was to its own survival, not to the people who benefited from its hunting. What began in a dusty granary was a calculated alliance. The wildcat's instincts to patrol, to mark, to defend a resource were never bred out. Instead, they adapted to a new kind of territory, the human home. Every time a cat circles a room or settles in a favorite spot, it echoes the choices its ancestors made thousands of years ago, claiming the safest, richest ground for itself. The myth of the devoted pet masks a reality far older and more cunning. A cat's claim isn't written in ink or blood, it's written in chemistry. When a cat rubs its cheek against your leg or presses its chin to your hand, it's deploying a silent code. Hidden beneath the fur are specialized glands tucked along the cheeks, chin, forehead, and lips. Each pass leaves behind a complex blend of pheromones, 5 main types labeled F1 through F5, layered on skin and clothing like invisible graffiti. These are not random scents. F3, the security signal, calms and marks spaces as safe. F4, the social marker, is reserved for trusted allies, other cats, or in this case, a familiar human. F2 can signal sexual readiness, mostly among males, but on people, it is more about familiarity than romance. F1 and F5 remain biochemical mysteries, their roles hinted at but not fully mapped. The message is not just for you, it is for any other cat, or even the original sender who might return to sniff the trail. The real decoding happens deep inside the feline brain. When a cat encounters a scent mark on a doorknob, a sleeve, or a sleeping lap, it draws in the molecules through its nose, and sometimes curls its lip in the flamen response. This dramatic sniff channels the signal to the vomeronasal organ, also called VNO, a hidden sensor tucked between the palate and nasal cavity. Here, the sense meaning is translated straight to the limbic system, the part of the brain that governs emotion, memory, and survival instincts. This dual olfactory system, with the VNO and the main olfactory epithelium working side by side, ensures no message goes undetected. The result is a living map of who has claimed what, who belongs, who is a stranger. The system is so fine-tuned that even synthetic copies of F3 and F4 sprayed onto furniture or carriers can calm a stressed cat or signal that a space is safe. But nothing matches the real thing. A cat's own mark delivered with a casual rub, declaring ownership in a language humans cannot smell, but other cats cannot ignore. This is the signature of feline possession, hardwired by evolution and played out every day in silence. A cat settles onto a soft blanket and begins a rhythmic dance, pressing its paws in and out, claws flexing ever so slightly. To most people, this kneading looks like a leftover comfort from kittenhood, a memory of nursing at a mother's belly. But there is more going on beneath those gentle paws. Each press releases a faint trace of scent from glands hidden between the toes. These interdigital glands are as much a part of feline identity as a fingerprint is for a human. With every push, the cat is quietly stamping its signature, layering a chemical contract onto the surface. This is not random affection. It is a declaration. This spot, this lap, this person is mine. Inside the limited world of a house or apartment, opportunities to claim territory are scarce. Unlike wild ancestors who roamed acres, the modern indoor cat must improvise. As a result, marking behaviors intensify. Kneading becomes more than a habit. It is a necessity. The cat selects prime real estate, the favored armchair, a sun-warmed pillow, or a human's chest. Each chosen place gets a dose of scent, woven invisibly into the fabric. Even the act of curling up in a particular spot is strategic. The cat is reinforcing its boundaries, warning rivals, real or imagined, that this is claimed ground. The chemistry does not stop at paws. Cats double down by rubbing their faces along the same surfaces, layering facial pheromones over the paw print. In multi-cat homes, this can set off a quiet arms race, with each feline competing to overwrite the other's marks. But when a cat needs a person, the message is personal. Humans become living territory, marked and remarked every day. The more a cat needs, the more it invests in its claim, especially when space is at a premium. What looks like a sweet ritual is, in fact, a sophisticated form of resource management. The cat is not just making biscuits, it is drafting a contract, one invisible to human eyes but unmistakable to any other cat. The stakes are high and the terms are non-negotiable. In the feline world, ownership is written in scent. A cat sprawled across your keyboard may look like the poster child for unconditional love, but the chemistry behind that supposed bond tells a different story. In pop culture, dogs are the gold standard for devotion. One longing look, and both species get a flood of oxytocin, the cuddle hormone. Study after study shows that when you stroke a dog, its oxytocin levels can soar by more than 50%, matching the surge in your own. The effect is so strong that it has been credited with the entire human-dog partnership. Loyalty, obedience, and the kind of affection that fills entire Instagram accounts. Cats, on the other hand, play by different rules. When a cat curls up in your lap or rubs its head along your jaw, there is a flicker of oxytocin, about a 12% rise on average if the cat feels secure. But the response is fickle, shaped by mood, personality, and whether the interaction is on the cat's terms. Some cats even show a drop in oxytocin after forced cuddles, as if the hormone is less about bonding and more about stress management. In the feline world, chemistry is a tool, not a promise. What truly sets cats apart is not a lack of feeling. It is their reliance on scent over sentiment. While dogs build relationships through eye contact and touch, cats invest in invisible signatures. Their primary language is pheromonal, not hormonal. The glands along a cat's face and paws churn out custom blends of F3 and F4 pheromones, marking familiar people and places as safe territory. This is not a warm embrace. It is a strategic maneuver, a way to lay claim without a word or a wag. Pet industry marketers have tried to sell us the idea that cats are just as affectionate as dogs, only in their own way. But the truth is more complicated. When your cat marks you, it is not writing a love letter. It is signing a contract. You are not a soulmate. You are a resource, a piece of prime real estate in a world defined by scarcity. In the end, The cat's bond is less about shared emotion and more about mutual benefit. Chemistry over cuddles, strategy over sentiment. That is the real story behind the purr. Cargo holds in ancient ships once rattled with more than trade goods. Recent nuclear DNA analysis published in late 2025 reveals that cats didn't just wander into human history. They stowed away, uninvited but indispensable, on the great arteries of commerce. The evidence is written in their genes. Modern domestic cats descend not from the tamed pets of Egyptian pharaohs or Anatolian farmers, but from North African wildcats that slipped aboard Roman and Phoenician ships only 2,000 years ago. Archaeologists trace these feline travelers through the bones of Sardinian feral cats, whose DNA matches Moroccan wildcats introduced around 200 BCE. Cats weren't passengers for company. They were deployed as living pest control, patrolling the shadows of grain ships and market caravans. In these cramped, rodent-rich environments, only the boldest survived. Each port offered a new territory, each ship a floating granary. Cats marked their domain not with flags but with scent, rubbing faces and paws along wooden beams, sacks, and, when the opportunity arose, the humans who fed them scraps. The pattern repeated from Alexandria to Marseille, from the Mediterranean to the Silk Road, as cats followed the flow of trade and claimed every stop as their own. This global dispersal wasn't a gentle migration. It was a calculated infiltration, powered by evolutionary strategy and human need. The timeline of domestication, once thought to stretch back 10,000 years, now contracts to a whirlwind of movement and adaptation. Cats didn't wait to be invited into civilization. They smuggled themselves in, rewiring the rules of territory on an industrial scale. The modern house cat, lounging on a laptop, carries the legacy of stowaways who conquered continents, one cargo hold at a time. Walk into any pet store, and you will find a sleek purple box promising to solve your cat's worst moods. Feeliway. The pitch is simple. Spray a little of this on your couch, and your cat will suddenly feel right at home. The secret ingredient is a synthetic copy of F3, the same pheromone cats deposit when they rub their faces on your furniture, your hand, or your favorite sweater. Pet industry marketers call it a shortcut to feline happiness, but what they are really selling is a chemical hack for ancient instincts. The numbers behind these claims are hard to ignore. Studies show that cats exposed to Feliway's F3 mimics spend less time yowling, scratching, or spraying. In one trial, stressed cats showed a 75% drop in cortisol-linked behaviors after a few weeks of exposure. But here's the catch. The effect is not magic. It is the brain responding to a familiar security signal, the same one a cat would leave on a prized perch or a human it wants to keep for itself. The product does not create love or trust. It manufactures the illusion of safety by mimicking what cats already do to claim territory. Meanwhile, the industry pushes towers and shelves as enrichment, but the real draw is vertical space. Research from 2019 found that stressed cats spend up to 30% more time on high perches, using elevation to manage anxiety and reinforce their control over a room. Every shelf sold is another way for a cat to declare ownership, and every drop of synthetic pheromone is a commercial nod to the invisible contracts written in scent. The result, a marketplace built on decoding and then exploiting the primal rules that have governed cats for thousands of years. A cat narrows its eyes and offers a slow, deliberate blink. To most people, it is a fleeting, almost comical gesture, barely worth noticing. But in the feline world, this is a powerful signal. The slow blink is a declaration of trust, a way of saying, "I see you and I am not afraid." In feral colonies, cats use this signal to avoid conflict, easing the tension between rivals and allies. When your cat blinks at you, it is not just being cute, it is lowering its guard, inviting you into its inner circle, if only for a moment. Then there is the so-called gift left on the doorstep, a limp mouse, a battered moth, even the occasional sock. While some owners see this as a token of love, the truth is more strategic. In the wild, cats bring prey to their young or to favored allies, reinforcing their status as providers. When your cat drops a prize at your feet, it is not just sharing, it is staking a claim and reminding you who keeps the household supplied. The message is clear: you are part of the team, but the cat calls the shots. Not all claiming is so dramatic. Some cats patrol the house at night, making silent rounds from window to door. This is not random restlessness. It is a protective sweep, a way to reinforce invisible boundaries and check for intruders. Every lap around the living room, every pause at a windowsill is a subtle reaffirmation of ownership. While people often look for obvious cues, purring, rubbing, meowing, the real language of possession is a blend of sight and scent. Cats layer visual signals like slow blinks and patrols over the chemical contracts written with every rub and need. Learning to read these signs means understanding your place in a world mapped by feline logic, where trust and territory are always intertwined. For years, scientists have argued over what really drives a cat to claim a human. Is it genuine attachment or just a clever survival tactic? The debate is far from settled. On one side stands the resource model. Cats see humans as providers of food, warmth, and security, a living territory to be managed and defended. Every rub, every need, every so-called gift is part of a strategy honed by millennia of evolution. The rules are simple. If a cat marks you, you are valuable. If it ignores you, you are just background noise. But recent studies, like Kristen Vitale's work in 2019, challenge the idea that cats are cold strategists. Her research showed that many cats form attachments to their owners that look a lot like the bonds between children and parents, or dogs and their people. In controlled tests, over 64% of cats displayed secure attachment, seeking comfort when their owner returned and showing distress when separated. These findings suggest that, at least for some cats, the human bond goes deeper than resource management. So how can you tell where your relationship stands? The practical litmus test is in the details. Does your cat choose to be near you, even when food is not involved? Does it rub its face or need your lap, layering scent over scent, especially after a stressful event? Secure cats will often slow blink in your presence, patrol your space, and mark you repeatedly, signaling both trust and territorial claim. On the other hand, a cat that only appears for meals, avoids contact, or never marks you may see you as just another resource. In the end, the answer is not either or. Cats are both strategists and social creatures, blending ancient instincts with surprising flexibility. The real secret: if your cat claims you, you matter, not just as a food source, but as a trusted part of its world. That is ownership on feline terms. Right now, every purr and nudge from your cat is an ancient signal, one backed by pheromones, not sentiment. As science uncovers the true language of our pets, our role shifts from owners to participants in a living evolutionary bargain. Recognizing this changes how we see our companions and how we understand ourselves. What does your cat see when it looks at you? Share your thoughts below.